Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 154 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long. We were coming to you once again from the worldwide headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia. We have another great guest today. I'm very happy to have Carenda Deonne on the podcast today. So get ready for this. She is the founder of Stress Easy LLC. She's a women's conference speaker, minister, author, and TV personality, an HR expert, ADR law graduate. And I did look up what ADR means, and it's basically, and I forgot already, but it's negotiation, it's mediation, dispute resolution. Thank you. She's a wellness strategist, and she also has her own YouTube channel, which I spent a little time on yesterday. So it's worth your while if you want to go check that out. So I'm looking forward to hearing about Carenda's journey. So, Carenda, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. My gosh, I should be stressed just listening to all of the things that I do, right?
Well, like I said before we started recording, we have upped the ante.
Oh, goodness.
This week on, I'm not sure. I'm just going to ask a few questions, then be quiet.
All right.
Let's see what happens, all right?
Well, Stephen, I'm happy to be here.
Well, good. It's great to have you. So, the first question we'd like to ask, just get a little background. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, anything you'd like to share.
Sure. I always get tripped up when people ask me that. So
well, good. I'm glad I could at least trip you up at least once.
Right? Here we go. So I usually unpack it in layers. So I'll start personally. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. A lover of seafood.
Okay.
Lover of blue crabs, crab cakes,
That's
oysters.
The place for that, right?
It's the place for it.
Yeah.
That's the place for it. So born and raised in Baltimore. Also, I am a person who loves sports, believe it or not. Big wrestling fan. I have two brothers. Started watching wrestling when I was a little girl, so grew up with The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Legit TV wrestling.
Legit. Yes. And I'm also a big Ravens fan, so I love football and things of that nature. Growing up, very interesting, Stephen. I was a writer at a very young age. While kids were out playing and dirt and jumping fences and all of that, I was up in my room writing. I would write poetry a lot.
Okay.
And writing was a very safe place for me. And so I felt that I could be free and express how I felt, and so it was good for me to do that. And my mother used to tell me, that's going to turn into a book one day. And it actually was my first book, right? It was called Soul of a Poet. So I enjoyed that, and I still enjoy writing, and that encompasses a lot of what I do today. And I would say, professionally, I went to FIT in New York, the Fashion Institute. I studied marketing there. And then I also have my master's with Regent in ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution.
Thank you
for
there you go. That up.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yes, and then also worked in HR with employee relations, so know lots about that and how to help mediate conflict. And of course, starting my own business with Stress Easy, which has really been a great, meaningful purpose for me.
Okay.
So that's about a little bit about me professionally. And spiritually, I'm a Christian, woman of faith, very positive, and just love life. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, good. So how long have you been here locally?
Oh, gosh. So I have been here for 4 years.
Okay.
I used to live here years ago, a long time ago. And I made my way back to Gastonia. And so it's been about 4 years since I've been back.
So you couldn't get back here fast enough.
I know, right?
Is that right?
I guess.
So the connection came, we got connected for the podcast through, I think you spoke at a professional women's association meeting. Some of our team members were there. And then we have a connection here with Nicole Burgess, one of our longtime team members here.
Absolutely love her.
And they were really impressed by your speech and everything that you did there. So let's talk about, I'm not sure where to start, but maybe focus on Stress Easy, I guess. But the next question is, what inspired you to get into your line of work? Well, there were a lot of there were a lot of things there is where I was going, right? But so that's interesting, right? Because sometimes, isn't that how sometimes we're going to solve a problem that maybe something that's impacting us. Maybe we can go solve it for others as well. But how did you get into that?
Absolutely. Yeah. First, thank you for that. And I appreciate all of the kind words and compliments. I don't take that lightly. Absolutely love Nicole. Stress Easy came about because, again, I was stressed. I had been going through in my life a lot of trauma and a lot of relationship situations, divorce, and so forth. And so I knew the effects of stress. I could feel it. And then having the pressure of still being a professional businesswoman, still keeping it all together, still having to perform, still having to show up, still having to smile, still having to let everyone think everything was okay, when really internally it was not. And so, when you're going through stress and when stress begins to really take effect, it truly impacts your body physically, mentally, and of course emotionally. And I began to experience things that were not healthy. I just wasn't having migraines, Stephen. I mean, I was fainting, as they would say in the medical term, syncope episodes, right? Okay. Because the level of stress that I was under, even the effects of, my hair falling out and thinning and weight up and down and irritability, just not, being myself, and so I got tired of that. Sometimes you get tired of that, and you say to yourself, okay, something has to change. Something has to shift. And sometimes you have to be that person to take accountability for yourself, right? And so, yes, even though I had support, which is great, and I had family, which is great, and I had friends, which was great, but until I said yes to Carenda, that yes, I wanted to do something different, I wanted to have a different outlook and perspective, then nothing was going to change, right? Internally, because it starts from the inside out, right? It really does start from the inside out. And so I began this journey of how can I gain or regain peace, right? Because in spite of everything that I was going through, 2 failed marriages, failed business relationships, health challenges. I had a brother 7 years ago who unexpectedly passed away from blood clots. Then 3 years ago, I had my own bout with blood clots. The stress of that, emergency surgery and blood transfusion. So it's a lot, right? And so I'm like, how do we turn this thing around? And I said to myself, if I can regain peace in my life, then that's going to be the foundation of it all. If I can get peace, then better days are definitely ahead. And so that journey started. How can I do that? How can I regain peace in my life? So that's when the S.M.I.L.E method unfolded, right? So, working on sleep habits, meditating daily. Inventory matters, taking inventory of what's working in my life and what's not, who needs to stay, who needs to go, right? Laughing often. Laughter is medicine. I do it every day, despite how stressful or challenging my day is, and educating myself. And so doing that journey, things turned, things shifted. I mean, in a big, big way. And I said to myself, you know what? I can't just keep this just for me. I want to share it with others and let them know how this S.M.I.L E method, which isn't anything super deep, right, Stephen? I mean, but it's about consistency, determination, and discipline. But how if you work it, it will work for you.
Okay. That was a lot.
I know, that was a lot to unpack.
A couple things. It's interesting. So I'm actually reading a book right now. It's called The Almanac by, I'm going to mispronounce his name. I think it's Naval Ravikant. And I'm in the chapter on, it's a chapter on happiness, but it's peace and happiness, really. And something that I literally just read last night was, and you mentioned this, you worded it a little differently, but the day that we start taking responsibility, accountability for ourselves is really when the day we can start making those changes.
Absolutely.
So that's interesting. And then to your point about, so I'm 54 now. I'm not afraid to say that. But when I was 25, I bet I would have never thought that stress could cause physical issues that I now know it can cause.
Yes.
And I've had 2 instances in the last 15 years where I literally went to my cardiologist because I thought something was serious wrong. And guess what?
It was stress.
It was stress. Right.
Heart palpitations and all that.
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
stress.
something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
And so I am personally aware and have seen it, in family, friends, work, whatever, where the stress unchecked or maybe unrecognized.
Yes.
I think a lot of times it's unrecognized.
Yes.
Or or the old suck it up culture, right?
Yeah, like suck it up, deal with it, go with it, get it done, and you're right. And here's the thing about stress. It's inevitable, right?
It is.
So when we all at some point will have a level of stress, and not all stress is considered bad.
Correct.
I mean, even planning a wedding can be stressful, right? Buying a home can be stressful, but it's a great accomplishment.
Or it can spur you on to something better, maybe.
Exactly.
If it doesn't get out of control.
Exactly. But it's how you deal with it, right. How you cope with it, how you process it. Because some people say, well, what is stress? And the very simple definition is that it is your body's natural physical response to pressure, challenge, and change. And how does your body naturally respond to pressure, challenge, and change? And how does it affect you mentally, physically, and emotionally? And you are the only one who can take inventory of that, right? But you go to the doctors, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on, right? From heart palpitations to panic attacks, anxiety, and they just all the tests come back negative, and they're like, hey, you're stressed. It's stress, yeah.
Go run, find something to do.
Go run, that's right. Exert that energy.
Find some way to find that peace you're talking about.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
And that's not as easy in 2025 in the modern world. It may not be as easy as we would like it to be.
That's true.
There's so much noise, at least for me, all the time.
It's so much noise all the time. And can I just say this really quick before we move on? We're accustomed in this, and I believe that peace is something that is a reward after we've checked all the boxes. After I've done all the Zoom meetings, picked up the kids, made dinner, worked on my business, started this plan, this project, helped someone over here, helped their garden flourish, and mine is over here withering, right? But now I can have peace, or I only can have peace when I take PTO, or I only can have peace once I get sick. No, peace is a lifestyle.
Right.
It should be a part of your daily practice, not a luxury. So I'm very passionate about that.
All right,
Stephen.
so talk to us a little more about the S.M.I.L.E. method. Is that what you call it? The S.M.I.L.E. method?
The S.M.I.L.E. method.
Okay, let's hear about
Stephen,
that.
I'm so excited about the S.M.I.L.E.
I'm
method.
thinking that Naomi's a professional at that already over here.
Yes. Naomi's great. Listen, do you remember, did you ever read the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a good book, right?
Yes.
And it's always interesting because
it helped my marriage tremendously.
See? Right?
Yes.
Right?
Because I was doing it wrong.
Oh, you were doing it wrong. So Stephen, okay, so what is your love language?
Is acts of service.
That's interesting. I believe my dominant one might be words of affirmation.
My wife says words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And I thought it was.
I need all of them, but I'm just saying.
And I thought, and here was I was messed up. I thought it was receiving gifts for probably the first 10 years of our marriage.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just messing up.
You were messing up, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you think of the S.M.I.L.E. method, I want people to think of it as the 5 love languages for your stress, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So what speaks to you, and what are those things that you can do to help maximize the way in which you handle stress? Think of it as the 5 love languages for your stress, because I tell this in conferences a lot, Stephen, that the human body has a total of 78 organs, right? 78. We're made up of 78, and out of that, we need 5 for survival. Do you want to take a guess on what those 5 are?
I would assume heart, brain, skin.
Skin?
No?
We do need skin, yeah.
Well, I would think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I would say kidney.
Yes.
Liver.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Go ahead, Stephen. You got it. It's the lungs.
Lungs.
Yes. Lungs. Yeah. Yeah. So we need 5 out of the 78, right? Out of the 78, we need 5 for survival.
Like I said, we're not professionals here.
That's okay. Yes, you are. We need 5 for survival, right? Okay. The ones that you just named, which you did great. And out of those 5, do you know the hardest working organ in the body is the heart? It's the heart. So in its natural state, it is the hardest working organ in the body. So if you are carrying stress and pressure and weight and things that you need to maybe let go of or work towards to have maximized recovery, your heart is working even harder to keep you alive, right? And so when I say the S.M.I.L.E. method, I really want people to think of it as the 5 love languages for your stress. Yeah. So is it sleep habits? is that what speaks to you the most, or is that something you need to improve upon, right? And or is it meditation, or is it taking inventory? Is it laughter, or is it educating yourself? And so, if we have time to unpack, we will. But that's basically what the S.M.I.L.E method is about. It's giving you that blueprint, so it can be one of those 5 languages.
So, where could our listeners go to find more information? Have you written a book about that?
Oh, it's coming.
Okay.
Look at that, Stephen. We're putting it out there. I love it.
Absolutely. Well,
yes,
we should put it out there.
Absolutely. So the book will be coming. I hope to get it out before the end of this year. But people can go to stress-easy.com to learn more information about the S.M.I.L.E method, workshops, webinars, conferences, all kinds of information is there. Free resources.
We'll leave it with a little bit there because our listeners won't go buy your book then.
Yeah, that's right. Tell them, come on by.
But listen, that's interesting stuff. And I am a big fan of the 5 love languages. Matter of fact, I don't remember what episode it was, but I typically share either a quote at the end or a book recommendation. That is one I have recommended, and I recommend that book to a lot of people because it's shocking how a lot of these, like we do personality assessments and stuff here as well, but it's shocking how it nails you if you do it right.
If you do it right, it works. Yes. That's it. If you do it right, it works. Yeah, absolutely.
So all these, you've done, you're doing a lot of things. You're involved in a lot of things. You've got a lot of credentials, maybe for lack of a better term with my limited vocabulary. How do you tie with all you're doing? So talking about stress, and then we like to talk about leadership here. Yeah. We think, I'm a believer that community, family, businesses, church, whatever, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yes.
So how would leaders out there who are, if you're a leader and you're a serious leader, you're going to get stressed. Mm-hmm. You're going to deal with that. I mean, how do you balance that? How do you, and in your leadership journey with family, owning a business, minister was on your, on your credentials. All these things. What's some of your leadership lessons kind of related to what we're talking about that you can share?
Yeah, I would say definitely number one, know your worth is very important. It's hard to lead if you're not sure of what you bring.
Some level of self-confidence.
You have to have that. And I've learned that along the way. You have to have that. People respect that. And it's also good. It's also very, very imperative that you show up as your authentic self, even as a leader, so, people need to see that. And yes, there's that business side. And yes, we have to take care of things. And yes, we have to meet quota or whatever the goals and things might be. Sure. But you showing up in your authentic self, if you're a low-key comedian or, if you're a great storyteller, share those things with your team.
There shouldn't be a home Stephen and a work Stephen.
Right.
It should be the same.
It should be the same, right? Yeah. And having that level of we used to call it open door policy, so to speak, in those HR terms. Yeah, but that comfort where people feel that it's a safe environment.
Yeah, it's not the physical open door; it's the cultural.
It's the cultural,
metaphorical open door.
Yeah,
right?
and how are you cultivating that? And never be. I think that it's great freedom to share the mistakes that you've made along the way, even as a leader. Like don't feel like, oh, I can't tell them that because they may think less of me, right?
You know what? When I was younger, is how I felt, but now I've made so many mistakes and learned from them that I think it's helpful.
It's very helpful. Yeah. It's very helpful because, as you said, Stephen, that's the key. You learned, right? Mistakes doesn't mean you are a failure. Mistakes mean you've learned, and now you can laugh later, right?
The event might have been a failure, but not necessarily the person. That's right.
Exactly. Absolutely. So those are the things I would say regarding leadership. Now, I know for me, I am a protector of time. That is very important to me. So, when I am present and what I need to do, I'm fully present. I'm very sensitive on how much phone time I'm using, how much time I'm on social media. I don't have it at the dinner table with me, even if it's just me, myself, and I, right? This is not my date, right? So I learn how to protect time. I learn that stepping away is a good thing. It doesn't mean meaning that, something is wrong. It just means I'm recalibrating. I just need that moment. So being a protector of time as a leader is very, very important. Even if, you buffer time in between your next meeting. Like I never go from one meeting to the next. I'm always going to put at least a good 15 minutes or 20 minutes before I go into that next meeting to hydrate or to take a quick walk or to just let the sun just, graze my face for a minute. But whatever it is that works for you, be a protector of time. I think that is so important as a leader.
Well, the book I'm going to share, I think is, make sure I'm not, the book I'm going to share is one I just finished reading, and I'll wait, but there's a whole chapter in exactly what you're just talking about.
Wow.
And I'll share that. So it's been a very impactful recent read. So, the people, our team members here at GSM know my views on our phones. I think I call them the most evil, wonderful device ever, right?
Ooh,
because
I'm telling you.
What they can be used for is terrific.
Yes.
But gosh, they can also be such a just a time.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's just interesting.
Yes, it is.
I'll put a positive spin on it. I'll say it's just interesting, right? What we how great and awful those things can be.
And how dependable we have become.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, addiction is a strong word, but you just have to be mindful. It's just.
Chemically what's going on can be, it is very similar to addiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's
very
going
much
on
so.
there? Yeah,
very much so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So sorry, we'll get good. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Naomi's job is to keep
I stirred the pot. I stirred the pot.
So, talk to me, all the things you've been involved with. There's something that really stands out in your life, career, business.
Yeah.
Anything that just, you look back and say, wow, that I am so proud of that.
Yeah.
That I accomplished that. Or something that was a result of something I was involved with.
Yeah. Several years ago, I'm not afraid to say my age, Stephen. I'll actually be 45 in June.
Well, I've learned not to ask that.
Yes, I'll be the big 45 June 11th. But when I was 30, a pastor's wife gifted me a big shout out to Kim Jacobs, who now pastors her own church. But she gifted me to go to a conference that Les Brown.
Okay.
Have you heard of Les
Yes,
Brown?
I'm familiar with Les Brown.
Yeah.
Not real for me, but I've watched some of him online. Yes.
Yes, that he was doing in Atlanta, and
He's a
I was
motivational
speaker. Yes, and I was so excited to go to this conference. It was just like I had won the lottery, $1 million, So I get there and he comes in and it's like, oh my gosh, it's Les Brown, right? And so he does this activity and he tells us, he wants us to stand up and he wants us to start walking around the room. And so it was about maybe a class of maybe 25 to 30. It was a very intimate setting.
Right.
And we did that. We started walking around the room. And so he would say, okay, he would point to someone and say, okay, you can sit down. Okay, you can sit down. You can sit down. And so it went from like 30 to like, 20 to like 10 to like 5. And I'm still walking, right? And so it goes to like 4, 3. I am the only one still walking around the room, Stephen. Okay. And I am like, my palms are sweating. I am beginning to feel like, what is going on? What is Les Brown doing? And I just, until he told me to sit down, I just kept walking. And so finally he told me I could sit down. But he said, Carenda, do you know why I had you to continue to walk longer than anyone else? And I said, no, but I really want to know. And he said, because I need you to believe. I need you to walk like you believe in you, like never before. Because when you can do that, you can captivate and walk into any room and command the presence and be who you really are. So, I was just like, wow. But that moment in time, even though I was just like, I cannot believe I am the only one still walking around this room, right, in front of Les Brown. But he looked at me eyeball to eyeball and said, I did it because I needed you to walk until you believed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty powerful.
I actually probably still have it somewhere, a CD.
A
Les
CD,
Brown.
yeah.
Y'all know what CDs are? Yeah. I bet you've never owned a CD, have you, Rachel? Really? I'm shocked.
Look at that, Stephen.
I'm shocked.
Yes, you got millions.
Because I remember 8-track tapes.
And,
then cassettes.
Yeah.
VHS tapes to watch movies. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely.
I digress.
No,
Sorry.
it's cool.
That took me down another rabbit hole.
Yeah, but
So-
that moment changed my life. That moment changed my life. Yeah. Even though, you still go through things and hills and valleys and stuff, but that moment definitely changed my
So
life.
15 years ago, I
still remember it.
I hear what I'm hearing from you is it's crystal clear back in that moment.
Yeah, like it was just yesterday. Yeah. And so anytime there's anytime doubt or discouragement, because even when you're great at what you do or you're an expert or people really respect what you do, I mean, we still, as humans, we have emotions and things that come up, right? But it's always good to have your own resource of library, like your own life.
To go back to something that positive happened or something when you were successful, because in some moments you feel like, oh, well, this is a disaster.
Right. This is not working out. This is a negative, right?
Yeah, I wish I could have had that attitude when I was 25, right? We talk a lot there's a question I'm going to ask, or I typically ask at the end, and a lot of the answers are about perspective when you're younger, right? And I just think it's almost impossible in my view.
Yeah.
You got to have experience and life experiences and maturity.
You do.
To get some of that perspective that at 25 would have been so helpful.
Wouldn't it? Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
So listen, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing that. That's definitely unique and impactful. It also goes to putting yourself out there to go experience something different, to go listen to somebody different.
Yes.
Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, you can get the same results. The same results, right?
Yes.
So,
and as leaders, Stephen, that's so important. We have to sit at the table with people who have the ability, the knowledge, and the experience to pour back into us. That's so important.
Yeah, because if I'd gone to a Les Brown conference or something like that when I was 30, and he asked us to stand up, I'd be like, oh,
I know,
really?
right?
Come on.
I know. I'm telling you. I was sweating. I really thought I was going to pass out. It was, but it was amazing.
So
it was
is there something, what really gets you fired up now that you're involved with or doing, or is it just the same stuff we've been talking about or the, the next few years, besides your book that you already mentioned, is there any big plans, anything that you're like, wow, I can't wait to get involved with this or do this, or is it just impacting more people?
Yeah. Impacting more people is one. Giving back is another. It's great. It's great to be on stage, and it's great to empower women, and it's great to inspire, and it's great to hear feedback from when you pour out. But there's nothing like giving back. Okay. Right.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, that's very, very important to me, and I really I am definitely on a mission to do more of that than I have done before. I recently had an opportunity to do the Spring Clean Senior Project for the United Way, and went over and packed some care packages for seniors who were in need. But taking that time, and knowing I may not ever meet them, but taking that time to do that, and knowing that I'm giving back and serving, that's what it's about.
We're big on the United Way here. We do a campaign every year. I'm a past chair of the board.
Oh, nice.
Right? I've had 2 stints on the board over the year. I mean, Andrea and her team are great.
Andrea's great. Yes. Big shout out to Andrea.
And she's
great.
She's a good wolf packer too.
Yeah.
NC State is the way, right? You know what? We hadn't done any sound effects lately, so I appreciate you doing that.
That was a good one. That was a good one,
Andrea's coming on. She's been on for the United Way, but she's coming on in a few weeks too to talk about her story as well. So,
that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So what would you say is, say your business professional success, all these credentials that are good. I mean, it's good to see, right?
Yeah.
And what would you say though is there's a couple things you could point out for our listeners? The biggest factor to get you here to your success, is there something that just you look back and say, wow, this is why I am.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the pinnacle, right? On Gaston's Great.
Right. Exactly.
Gaston's Great podcast of all of these things, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I would say a couple of things. I would say first, for me, I would definitely say personally faith. Absolutely. And 2, I would say not being afraid to take risk.
Okay.
Someone told me a while back, jump into the deep. And I was like, you sure? Because I don't know how to swim, float, do anything. I have a fear of water, right? But not afraid of pivoting when it's necessary, and jumping into the deep, taking risk. when you're so passionate about what you believe in and what you do, those two things are very important. And I would say also having someone to hold you accountable. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a friend, but you need someone to check in. One, to make sure, are you good? Right? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Right? And then
listen to that.
And then
listen to the answer.
Listen to the answers to that, and really help keep you, determined and focused and on what it is that you're looking to achieve. But I would say those three things would be very important to me personally. On
do you
success.
think in your experience, do you think kind of what this Stress Easy business and what you've experienced say the last 4 or 5 years, did you see that get worse through and after COVID?
I did.
Okay.
I feel like I did, and I felt like it was so necessary, absolutely. But I feel like I did. I feel like a lot of people too just have lost touch.
Yeah, because my next follow up to that was how does connection play in with what you're teaching or what you're trying to get people to do?
Yeah.
I don't know that I like the word. I heard this phrase. I'm not sure I'm a believer in it, but this loneliness epidemic, that's kind of, and what I'm reading, and especially with men we struggle more with that probably. I mean, I'm involved with a group that's specifically designed to battle that, actually.
Yeah.
It's called F3.
Oh, nice.
And that's literally the mission, is to bring men together to be better leaders.
Yeah,
And so how does connection, because I don't think we're not designed to be alone.
We're not designed to be alone.
So how does connection kind of play in this, helping with that stress or helping with just the day-to-day stuff that people are dealing with?
Yeah, connection is so powerful because it's bridging the gap of not only just missing links, but it's bridging the gap to even greater possibilities and opportunities that you may not even have thought about or known about. Connection really, it speaks to the heart, and it also gives people the opportunity to be vulnerable and transparent. And you can't do that walking this thing alone, right? We're strengthened by each other's story and journey, and however that looks like, but we can glean and learn something, even if it's just one word that you can take away. But connection is so important, and we have lost that. And I love what I do because it does, you feel the connectivity, like you feel that energy in the room, right? And I like having women to be involved. I don't just like just talking just talk. I want them to be involved and do things and say things and participate, because that's building connectivity. And they can sit back and say, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that's been through that. I'm not alone in this. And, they have that sense and strength of hope to move forward. So connectivity is powerful. And as leaders, it's necessary. Yes, I mean, I read too, and I love a good book, but getting together with others, it's just so important, especially over food. It's nothing like connecting with food,
Absolutely. So that's, it's a great point, because I know I have had seasons where I'm the only one that feels this way. I'm the only one that is dealing with this. I'm the only one. We're the only business that is going through this.
Right.
Well, that's just...
It's not true.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm in a peer group with contractors from all over the country, and we happened to have a meeting 2 weeks ago. And one reason I do that is, well, we're this shared misery of owning a business sometimes. Or, you're reminded that, every other company's dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not the only one. And, you can get over some of that imposter syndrome.
Yes, absolutely.
Which all leaders, if somebody says they've never experienced that, they may just not know what it's called.
Right. But they have. Yeah.
I was the first day I showed up at my Rotary Club. I was 30 years old. I walk in this room. I'm like, oh, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
With all these, what I considered community giants,
like
so
giants.
to speak. Yeah. I'm like, I don't belong here. Well, 24 years later, I'm still, a member of the club, and I've been president, and now I look forward to it. Now I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, but my point is, I had to put myself out there. What are y'all laughing at? So
I know
we're being distracted over here by Rachel and Naomi, and I'm not afraid to call them out in the middle of the show.
I just felt I was like, yes, she's such
Oh yeah, no kidding. So I occasionally looking at the clock because next thing you know, it's going to be like 2 hours in.
I know.
Carenda, we're going to be like, past lunch and
I know.
be time for church Sunday.
I know. There you go. Amen.
But yeah, my point is, so many people feel like they don't belong.
Yeah, they don't belong.
But everybody feels the same way.
Yeah, but everybody feels the same way.
It's funny,
yeah.
And I'm old enough now to realize that, nobody knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any idea. We're just getting up and doing our thing.
Just getting up and doing your thing. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. Getting up and doing your thing and being the best version of you that you can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been good. So a couple more questions before we finish up. But
Sure.
is there anything, this is super important, is anything that I haven't asked or should have asked or something you want to make sure that you share and get that message out? Or maybe if you want to touch on, and one question I did think of as we were talking, is there, without getting into the weeds too far, is there one, if you've got 20 tactics or S.M.I.L E, I'm assuming that's an acronym. I'm assuming.
It's an acronym,
okay.
yes.
You want to share maybe one of them?
Sure. I'll share one of them.
To tease to our audience.
Yeah. So the question I always ask, women every day is, did you smile today, right? So I'll talk about the I in S.M.I.L E, which is inventory matters. That is so important. And one of the things that I really tell women to do, and men, this is important too, prep before you play, right? It's so important. How you start and finish your day, and even as a leader, is so very important. If you just get up and start exercising without warming up or without stretching, right? You have a greater risk of pulling a muscle or hurting yourself. Same thing when it comes to, how to cope with stress. Prep before you play. So what does that look like? What are you going to do in the morning? Is it going to be listening to music? Is it going to be journaling? Is it going to be writing a gratitude list? Is it going to be, meditating on a scripture, a phrase, or something that is important to you? Whatever that looks like, you got to prep before you start your day. And I say prep before play. So it's about perspective. So, I know it's work and all of that,
Sure.
but prep before play. Like, you've got another opportunity to play out here in this playground and make an impact and help someone achieve something great and them pour into you and all of that. But how you start and finish your day is so, so very important. And when you take time to do that, even if it's 5 minutes, you will be surprised on how you are able to have creative thoughts and strategy, how you're able to be a little bit more peaceful and extending grace and all of those wonderful things when you do that. So just don't roll out of bed and just go right at it, right?
Pick up your phone and start checking emails and social media immediately.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I see y'all looking away over there.
Yeah, right. Prep before you play. So important.
My phone's not in here, right?
It's not, Stephen. That's right. That's right. I don't see it.
Listen, that's great. That's great advice. And I've developed a relatively similar routine that does exercise, journaling, scripture, maybe a devotional, that I do hopefully before 7:30 or 8.
Yeah,
get all that accomplished. And so it typically it will center me most of the time.
That's it. That's
most
the word.
Of the time.
Center.
Yeah.
Most of the time, right?
Yeah.
There are things that will still catch us off kilter, but it will center you most of the time. And the more that you do it, it becomes a discipline. It becomes a part of your lifestyle. And it's something that you will want to do because you see that it matters.
Well, dealing with stress, and the book I mentioned earlier, The Happiness Jar, he talks a little bit about even happiness. Joy is a concept I kind of like better than happiness. Happiness is a little fleeting, a little more short term. It's it's the hot chocolate in front of the fireplace.
Yes.
Then you're done, right?
Then you're done, right?
But even that I think can be a habit, right? You develop is how to approach the day and how you approach every interaction, and those habits can be hard to develop, though.
It can be.
Yeah, depending on what we're involved with. So
yeah.
So I kind of sent you down that road with S.M.I.L E, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
Anything else before we finish off with a couple of other questions? Anything that you want to share? Because you've got about 25 pages of notes over there.
I know. I know. I wrote notes and everything.
I appreciate you being prepared.
Yes, that's important. Leaders you got to do that.
You prep before playing on the Gaston Great podcast.
That's it. You prep before play. That's right. I would just say. Continue to always show up as your authentic self. And if there is something that I'll give this example. Really know what keeps you going. For me, I'll give you a prime example. And this may sound very, very strange, but my grandmother's hands keep me going. Her hands. And I actually, Stephen, on my phone, I have a picture of her hands. And I'll tell you why. My grandmother, Nettie Morris, she's 93 years old, still living and ticking. But she had an elementary school education. I'll just show you really quick. It's just a little quick picture of her hands. Elementary school education, had 4 children, and she worked in a crab factory all her life. She would put on her apron, walk to the back, and she would pick crabs for hours. And she raised 4 children, even with her limited ability to further her education, or have resources like we do now. And when I see her hands today, her nails are very curved from her picking crabs, right? For hours and hours. But with that determination, she was able to raise 4 kids. She was able to own a home. She was able to accomplish some things. So anytime that I even think about giving up, I think of her hands. I think of the work of her hands that she did for hours to make sure that she created a safe, a positive, a loving environment at whatever cost that was for her children, and how that has continued to live on through us. And she's still here today, thank God. But I think of her hands. So I'm saying that to say, hold on to whatever that is.
What's somebody's trigger to help them keep going?
Yes.
Or whatever. What's that? Yeah.
Whatever that is, hold on to that. Hold on to that, because stress will come, pressures will come, disappointment will come, grief will come, life will come. But when you hold on to those things, it will keep you at a firm foundation. That quitting is not an option.
All right, that's good. That's really good. You can just snip that one right there, Naomi. That was good. So, last thing we'll do is we'll make sure let you share where people can find more information, find out more about you online or whatever you'd like, and how maybe get in touch with you. But a couple more questions to finish up here, Carenda. So, remember, this is a podcast about Gaston County, some of the great things, some of the great people in Gaston County. But the question we'd like to finish off with is, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
Oh, it is such a great place. Oh my goodness, it is such a great place. I love the development, the growth that Gaston County is having right now. Even the entrepreneurial growth that Gaston County is having right now. The transformation that's happening on Main Street and beyond. It is just wonderful. And I love seeing how we are coming together more as a community, not, I live on this side or you live on that side. We can come together, right? And have music festivals and concerts and share things and have our children meet and play and all of those great things. I think it's such a great hybrid and niche that it can never be compared to anywhere else,
right.
I just think, when you think of Daniel Stowe, Botanical Garden, and the museums, the arts, and even the community-based things that we have right here, GBA and so many others, PWA, it just speaks to the power of connectivity, growth, and development, and you're seeing it before your very eyes. I love that about Gaston.
I had the luxury of living here most of my life.
Yeah.
And so I would say the last 10 to 15 years, it really has been, exponential compared to the previous 20 or 30 years.
Yes.
The things that are going on. So I appreciate you sharing that, because
Absolutely.
I'm a total homer for Gaston County.
Absolutely. So, you don't have to go to Charlotte all the time. Yeah. There's a lot in Gaston.
Well, that's Saturday Night Live says, right? I say this every other episode. Charlotte's the gateway to Gastonia.
I love it. Oh, I like that, Stephen. I like it.
So I love this question, Carenda.
Yeah.
So knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Ooh, I saw that question. I thought about that. This is what I would say, Stephen. I would say, don't cry over spilled milk. That's what I would say.
That
right?
perspective we were talking about.
That perspective.
Earlier. Yeah.
Don't cry over spilled milk. The milk. Okay, you spilled the milk. Grab a paper towel, wipe it up, pour you a new glass.
Yeah. And don't leave the milk around, though.
You know, don't.
There's a story behind that we won't get into.
Is there a story behind that? Okay, okay. Naomi said Slim Shady. That's so funny. But don't cry over spilled milk.
Yeah.
You know, don't feel like you have to gravitate to the first thing of the emotional impact. Just get the paper towel, wipe it up, pour your new glass. You know,
Happens,
it's all
right?
good. Yeah, life goes on. It's gonna be all right.
The things when I was 20, the things I thought were a big deal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing to look back and think.
Amazing.
The things I got caught up in that were just not a big deal. But I sure thought they were, boy. It was going to end of the world.
End of the world.
The spilled milk was end of the world.
End of the world.
Yeah.
End of the world, right?
Listen, Carenda, this has been fantastic. And so last thing before I share my book recommendation this week is share anything you can about where can our listeners go find you, find out about, where the book might be in the future. Because now you're under pressure to finish that thing.
I'm under pressure now.
Yeah.
I'm under pressure.
Yeah. So just anything, how they get in touch with you, your business, anything you'd like to share.
I will say this really quickly. First of all, thank you so much, Stephen. This has been wonderful. Oh my gosh. I will say this. May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Okay.
And so for the month of May, I am offering my ebook, Winning the Battle Within, How to Detox Emotionally. It is absolutely complimentary. So please get in contact with me at stress-easy.com, and I will send you a copy of that ebook in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, because emotional well-being is so important. Also, starting in June, I will be doing free wellness webinars. So if you are interested, your company, your business, if you're interested in learning more information on how to schedule a 30-minute free webinar that is introducing the S.M.I.L.E method and helping leaders to still show up even under stress, please feel free to contact me at stress-easy.com. And you can follow me on all social media platforms at Carenda Deonne.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure that's in the show notes and get the spelling right.
Perfect.
And I pronounced it correctly.
You did.
But you had to tell me beforehand.
You did good, Stephen. You did good.
And also, and that includes the YouTube channel. And I watched 3 or 4 videos yesterday.
Oh,
they were great.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I mean, helped me be a little more peaceful yesterday afternoon.
Oh,
and
that's good.
I mean, seriously, they were, especially some of the shorts are good. Because
thank you.
I appreciate those because our attention spans, right?
Yep, it's short.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
come quick.
You gotta get on
it.
with it. So, I mentioned this earlier, but I'm gonna do a quick book recommendation. And I literally just finished it, not within the past few weeks. It's called The 5 Types of Wealth by S.M.I.L.E. Bloom. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but The 5 Types of Wealth, and let's see if I can remember all of them. The very first one is time wealth. All right, so the headline, the title of the book, people might think talking about financial wealth. Well, it's time wealth, mental health, social wealth, physical wealth, and then financial wealth. So I think I'm naming those right. So, it's one of those books I read. I said, God, I wish I had read that when I was 25, and it's one that I do. If a book really impactful, I'll do a summary maybe and hand out to people, because I've learned that if somebody says they will read the book, I actually will give them a copy. But most people, I've learned that, and they're not going to read a 300-page book, right? But I do summaries, and so turn that into a 20-page summary that more people will read, and look at. So, but it was very impactful. So to our listeners out there, I would really encourage you to read that one. Matter of fact, if you look back at my social media the last couple of weeks, it was one of my book recommendations. So, Carenda, any last words before we close this episode out?
Listen, the only thing I will say is remember S.M.I.L.E. Did you smile today? And if not, today is a great day to start.
Yeah, just that physical act can actually, if you do it long enough and even forcing yourself to do it, it'll actually change your outlook and attitude.
Absolutely.
It's interesting, What's the whole saying? It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile.
It does.
Remember that one, Naomi. Well, that's pretty true, actually. Both of these ladies are extremely impactful here at our company. So to our listeners out there, thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast. And don't hesitate to contact us here at our email address, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please follow us on all our social media platforms. and apparently giving us a good 5-star rating helps the podcast gets noticed. Thanks again to Carenda for being our guest today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Naomi Hunt and Amy Anderson from GSM Services. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.